Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I am Bree Nixon, the manager of the Port Hope District Chamber of Commerce, and we're so glad that you could join us this afternoon. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the Vice Chair of the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, her worship, Mayor Linda Thompson.
Thank you. Premier Wynne, so many elected officials, especially our directors of the Chamber and all our distinguished guests, a really warm welcome. I think you need it today, right? Yes. It is a great day in Port Hope, though. We're very pleased to have the Premier here to celebrate the Chamber's successful year. They've had a great year, and they're launching a new year, so we're very pleased to have everyone here, and have a great day. Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Port Hope and District Chamber of Commerce Annual General Meeting. My name is Julie Mavis and I am the 2013 President. I'm delighted, but not in the least surprised about the turnout here today. In our audience we have many dignitaries from across the county, including Chief Marsden of Alderville First Nations and the visiting mayors Mark Coombs of Cranley Township and Dalton McDonald of Anwick Haldimand. We also have our own mayor and many council members here today. And I also wanted to welcome our chamber friends whom we work with throughout the year. Rick Norlock MP for Northumberland Quinte West and Bob Milligan MPP for Northumberland Quinte West. And also former MPP Lou Rinaldi, who has assisted in coordinating this event. And we're very grateful, Lou. It's a tremendous privilege. Thank you. Importantly, we also have representation from every Chamber of Commerce across Northumberland County. So welcome, and thank you all for coming. The Port Hope Chamber of Commerce is a thriving, member-driven association committed to economic growth in our region. We strive to develop more business opportunities and more jobs in our community and better business through networking, innovation, business education, and advocacy. Our membership consists primarily of small businesses with less than 5 employees. And I'd like to share with you just a few of the highlights for 2013. At the beginning of the year, the Port Hope Chamber embraced young people by launching a Young Professionals Association. More than 70 young professionals have taken part in one or more of the events throughout the year. We achieved accreditation from the Canadian Chamber Association, demonstrating to our members that this chamber is run in a strategic and professional manner and that all operations reflect national standards. In collaboration with the municipality and the Port Hope Area Initiative, we have helped connect small business to big business opportunities by developing a contractor portal. This portal is where companies interested in doing business with the Port Hope project can find one another and stay informed. We have over 170 individual businesses registered on this site. And also in 2013, we launched our inaugural conference and trade show, attracting 120 delegates and exhibitors to Port Hope from across Canada and the United States and Europe. It was truly international in its reach. It's been a very exciting year, and I am grateful to the energetic board of directors for achieving such an ambitious agenda. 2014 is also going to be very exciting as it marks the 140th year that our chamber has served this business community. And what a great way to celebrate it than a visit from our Premier, Kathleen Wynne. And now we move on to the real reason that everyone is here. We are delighted that our Premier, Kathleen Wynne, has joined us today. In our local rural communities, it's encouraging that our Premier has given her commitment to bringing new government leadership to agriculture and agri-food. Premier Wynne is also focusing the energy of government on labor force issues, and especially youth unemployment. Additionally, Premier Wynne consistently demonstrates her support of chambers through giving up her time and energy, such as today. One of her first meetings in her role as Premier was with the Ontario Chamber of Commerce. In this light, our Premier shares the vision of Chambers with a commitment to economic development and prosperity being a central tenet of the future of the province. Premier Wynne has previously stated, "The economy is not something we can separate out from our daily lives. It's about the health of our businesses and the health of our neighbors' businesses." What an excellent way to express the values of a rural chamber. Please join me in welcoming our Premier, the Honourable Kathleen Wynne.
It's a real honor to be here. Bonjour, bonjour. It's wonderful to be gathering here with you on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples, and I want to thank Julie and Mark and everyone from the Port Hope and District Chamber of Commerce for inviting me here today. And I understand you're just about finished and you're coming in, Mark, so congratulations. To both of you. It's wonderful to be here with Lou Rinaldi, our great candidate. It's wonderful to be here with Rob Milligan, who is the member, and Mayor Thompson, Mayor Crooms. Is Mayor Crooms here? Mayor Crooms is here, and Mayor McDonald, and Chief Marsden, I believe, is here from the Alderville First Nations. Thank you very much, all of you. And I just want to comment before I move into my formal remarks that I did meet some folks outside. There were some issues that were raised about school buses and also some services for kids with special needs. And I just want you to know, and I think some of the representatives are in the room, I did have an opportunity to sit down with some of the folks who are concerned about the school bus issue, and I committed to both groups that I will be taking their concerns back and working on them with our ministers. On the school bus issue, just so you know, I became Minister of Education in 2006, and we've been trying to get this issue right, and I am determined that we are going to find a way through it. So I just want you to know that I think we are so blessed to live in a society where people can express their concerns, you know, and it's my responsibility as a political leader to pay close attention. So thank you to those of you who have those concerns, and I look forward to continuing to work with folks. So we've got representatives from many levels of government here, and I know what an important role you all play in your communities, and business leaders, and that's why I'm so pleased to have this opportunity to talk to you and to share my vision of Ontario. As you may know, I've just marked my first anniversary in office, and it's great to be back here to mark it. Port Hope is a wonderful place and beautiful Main Street, and Lou tells me the most beautiful Main Street in the province. And on a personal note, this was the first riding. In fact, I was declared Minister of Education in 2006, right here in this riding. So this is a good luck place for me. But it's a hopeful place. Your name expresses what I believe about the province of Ontario, that there is opportunity, and that opportunity lies in our ability to have a strong economy, to create jobs, to create a business environment that allows businesses to create jobs, and at the same time provide the services that people need. And so that's why I want to talk to you about our plan, what we've been doing over the last year, and what I see us doing going forward. It's really been a year of taking action and taking on challenges, of listening and learning, of working hard to make sure that Ontario's future is even brighter. And it's a great honor to do this work, but obviously none of us as elected officials do this alone. We do it in concert with the people in communities. And I believe that Ontario has a very bright future. I had the opportunity to visit the GM plant this morning. I was in Northern Ontario day before yesterday and visited some businesses there that have been supported by our government, and we're seeing those jobs being created, and they're good jobs, and they are being created in businesses that have a future in the new economy. The discussions at GM this morning were about productivity and efficiency, and the way equipment has changed since 1953 when that plant opened. That plant is the same age as I am, so I know it's been around for a while, and there have been so many changes in the way that work is done. But if there's one thing that I've had reinforced for me in the past year, it's that great things do not come without great effort. Persistence pays off. And if you've seen that ad about me running uphill, that one, that's the thing that you can count on from me. I won't stop until it's done. I'm very, very determined, and I won't quit till I reach my goal. So that's what that ad is about. And after 12 months of traveling this province, of visiting every corner and every community in Ontario, my goal is to build a strong and growing economy in every part of the province, because it's really, really critical to me that you understand that yes, I represent a Toronto riding, but I see myself as the Premier of the whole province. And so the fact that I took on the role of Minister of Agriculture and Food is one manifestation of that I believe that it was important for that issue to have a higher profile. But whether we're talking about small towns, whether we're talking about remote northern communities, whether we're talking about small urban centers, all of those regions, all of those are part of an Ontario that I believe has that bright future. So I don't distinguish between one region or another in terms of the necessity to make sure we get it right. So that is our highest possible priority. And by understanding the needs of all the different regions, that's the best way to ensure that everyone has a job that they can be proud of, because we've understood what the needs are. The communities have had a say in and have been able to develop their economic plans, and working in partnership, we can find ways to help those communities to thrive. So to say it as plainly as possible, my job is about jobs. It's about creating jobs, it's about attracting jobs, it's about delivering jobs. And because the economy thrives when we can better support those who need help so they can succeed in life, we have to make this our highest priority. Good jobs are the ladder that we use to climb up into the middle class and towards increased prosperity. We know that. Good jobs are what give people the opportunity to do more for their families, more for their future. And for me, that's the test. And it's the only test that really matters. Are people doing better? Are they able to put their kids through school? Can they afford to buy the things that their families need? Can they look forward to retiring with a decent income and basic security? And I can't stress this enough. A strong economy is not an end unto itself. We seek a stronger economy because of what it means for people, for their well-being, for their quality of life. That's the point of a strong economy. So the question is how? How can we grow our economy and create jobs? Particularly in the face of a still challenging global economy. We had good news today. The jobs numbers are up, 23,000 new full-time jobs in Ontario, net 6,000 new jobs, but we need that to increase, and we need that to be the long-term trend. And it's particularly a challenge at a time when our population is aging and retiring in record numbers, and when our politics often seem designed to pull people apart instead of bringing us together. And it's the coming together that allows us to solve problems. We stopped at Tim Hortons in Oshawa, and we met some people, some of whom were people I knew were going to be there, and some of whom were not. And at one table, there were two young men sitting, and one of them had a binder on the table that was skills and training manual. And what they're doing is they are working with school boards to bring their expertise and hands-on experience to help the teachers who are working in whether it's machine shops or in wood shops, to develop and advance their skills. So they're working in partnership, and we had an opportunity to talk about how important it is that we find ways to close that skills gap. And so that's the kind of partnership that is critical. There's no doubt we're blessed with many advantages, and none are more important than our people, their education and their skills. And it's that creativity and talent, the work ethic and character, and so that's where we start from. That is the fundamental that allows us to build that strong economy. And when we concentrate and can build on that foundation, then we can build partnerships. We can bring business, workers, communities, and institutions of learning together. We can work with all kinds of companies who are ready to come here, who are looking to Ontario, and we can support the sorts of businesses that are eager to grow here. So it's bringing them and also helping them expand. And that's my approach, is bringing together the people who know what is necessary in order to expand and to grow those job opportunities. And supporting those businesses reflect the value and the instincts of our government. It's what I found that leads to lasting and sustainable success, and it's fundamental to my vision of the way society works and the way our economy works. So people and partners, that's the foundation of our Ontario Jobs Plan. It's a smart and steady plan, it's focused and it's fair, and it builds on our efforts to invest in people, to modernize our infrastructure, and to build that dynamic business climate that I've talked about. It's our plan to create, attract, and deliver jobs to the people of the province. Jobs for today, yes, absolutely, but jobs for tomorrow too, so we build in a sustainability. And the plan is defined by action on 6 key priorities. So I'm just going to go over them. First, we understand that infrastructure is the foundation of strong communities. So we put into action a 3-year, $35 billion building and infrastructure program that will create at least 100,000 jobs right now, right away. Those are the immediate jobs. We're building schools and hospitals, subways and highways, byways and Wi-Fi. And not only does this make for good jobs now, it attracts investment, and it is investment in the future, and it keeps us competitive in that future. So that's the infrastructure piece. Secondly, we've introduced a skills training and second careers effort to get people working to the fullest of their potential and capacity, and to help them get back to meaningful work when they've had the misfortune of losing a paying job. And that means the largest apprenticeship program in the history of our province, with more than 120,000 apprentices in this year alone in Ontario, and that's a total that will increase year over year. It also means $1 billion in creating second careers for 1 million older workers. Part of that will be our commitment to deploy a rapid response team to communities when they're hit hard by a factory or a plant closure. And I just want to emphasize the extent of our ambitions here. I believe that Ontario has to be first in North America when it comes to training and retraining and skills development. That's our goal, number one, and nothing short of that. And I know we've got the capacity to do that, again, because we've got that foundation. Third part of our strategy is our youth job strategy, where we will get with this strategy at least 30,000 young people on the job, working up to their potential and harnessing their desire to work hard and allowing them to be exposed to endeavors and fields of work that they might not otherwise be exposed to. Already more than 6,000 young people are in placements, are having that opportunity. So that is a very key part of what I believe needs to happen, making sure young people know the full breadth of what's available. The reality is there are jobs in this province to be had, and we don't necessarily have the people to fill those jobs. So the youth strategy is a very important part of that. And further part of the youth strategy is making sure that higher learning is accessible. So the 30% tuition grant cuts the cost of school by up to 1/3 each year. And that means that, quite simply, more young people have access to post-secondary education. We can't let higher rates of youth unemployment threaten a whole generation of stalled hopes and stagnant wages. We just can't let that happen, so that's why we're putting those youth strategies in place. The fourth part of the strategy is a measured and moderate approach to balancing the budget and a continued effort to strengthen our fiscal fundamentals. We are on track to eliminate Ontario's deficit, but we are not going to endanger new jobs and recovery. We're not going to surrender services that people need just to get there a year or two faster. We're not going to do that. It would not be responsible, and it would not be what Ontario needs for the immediate and the long term. The fifth part of our strategy is that we're going to focus on building our knowledge economy. Ontario's highly educated and quality trained workers draw the eye of the world's best companies. In every field, whether it's agriculture or aerospace, this province is home to people with big ideas, with great experience, and with the determination to break new ground. And so I call this playing to our strengths, making sure that we understand what those strengths are and that we put our support in those areas. And we have to make sure that we provide them with the best connections and the best support possible. I want to give you one example of a recent success, and that's Cisco. In 3 locations around the province, this global company plans to create 5,000 high-paying jobs over the next decade. It will stay here, it will invest in our universities, it will spin off jobs and prosperity, and as a company, it's committed to our mutual success. Cisco looked at other jurisdictions and chose to come to Ontario for this expansion. It's a great deal that works for Ontario, and I'm so proud that we were able to take part in its creation. And we will continue to do that, to partner with companies to make sure that we do what I said before, which is play to our strengths. So that brings me to the 6th and final part of our plan, and that's supporting our small businesses. Just as we have to create an environment that draws global industry, we have to also foster the growth of our homegrown success stories. And many of you are in this room because you are a homegrown success story. So we know that from good ideas come great small businesses, and great small businesses, literally the sky is the limit. And we're helping our entrepreneurs and our innovators who are committed to hard work, who risk their own savings to create jobs and to grow. We're putting in place tools to tap new markets. For years, I worked for myself, and my partner Jane runs a small business, and I know the importance of small business to the economy, and I know the challenge of growing them. So I'm committed personally to meeting that challenge and making sure that we do everything we can, from dealing with the issues around regulation, which I know affect small and large business, to making sure that you have all of the infrastructure and all of the supports that you need. So that's our approach. 6 components to it, and it's a set of straightforward priorities, all of them focused on that common goal of building a stronger economy with more and better jobs, in order that we can have that fair and supportive society that we all have come to expect in this province and know we can do even better. The plan that we're putting in place is practical. It's steady, and it's balanced, and it's workable, and it is working. It's about people, and it's about partnerships. And more than that, it speaks to our values, to my values, but to our values as Ontarians. I see our future with optimism, and I'm pretty sure if I spoke to most of you in this room, if not all of you, you would be optimistic about the future of Ontario. It's also about bridging the rural and urban divide, and I said earlier that I see myself as, and I see the government as a government for one Ontario, for the whole province. And so bringing those wedges in between rural and urban and small town and large town, I don't think is helpful, because that doesn't allow us to tap into all of our potential. I think that the way forward and the way to success is working together. When one area succeeds, another area benefits. And when one is hurting, then everyone's hurting. Because families live in different jurisdictions and different parts of the province, in different regions. And so I know that the creation of a job in a small community has a much larger impact than the creation of a job in a city. So that is a difference between some of our larger and smaller jurisdictions. It provides not only a living for a family, but contributes to the local economy. In last year's budget, we created the Small and Rural Infrastructure Fund so that small communities can build the bridge to a plant, a road to farmland, sewer systems for a town. It can become more competitive in attracting new investments in the area. When I was Minister of Transportation, I heard from many municipalities that they didn't have the ability to deal with all the infrastructure challenges that confronted them. And I heard it about roads, I heard it about bridges, I heard it about water systems. And so this small and rural and northern roads and bridges fund is about addressing that need. And so we put it in the budget last year, and my intention is that we will make that fund predictable year after year, so that we can make sure that municipal representatives can count on that. I'm committed, I committed during the leadership last year, as I said, to be the Minister of Agriculture and Food, because I fundamentally believe that it's important to bring those issues to the forefront in decisions that we're making every day at the Cabinet and the caucus table. I believe that government exists to do good and to help people in their lives. I believe that government can be and is a force for good. And I want the people of Ontario to know where I stand on issues, and I want those stands to be clear. And I've tried since I've been in this office to lay out what it is I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and to be transparent about what it is we're doing. So I've laid out my plan. I will continue to communicate to you as we adjust it and as we modify it. But at some point this spring, next fall or next spring, voters are going to be asked to choose among the parties. And there's no secret that we're in a minority parliament and that an election will come at some point in the near to mid-term. And the reality is that there are some very different views among the parties on the economy. And it's extremely important that you understand that I think that there needs to be a constructive dialogue across all parties, and at the same time that there are differences among us. Right now there's a lot of talk about what the Conservatives have in store for Labour in the province. That's one of the discussions, and the intention in that party's plan to make significant cuts. I need you to know that I don't believe that doing either of those things is in the best interest of the province. I don't think this is the time for those kinds of measures. I believe that they would be harmful to the economy of Ontario. On the other side of the ledger, the NDP, quite frankly, I don't know what their plan is. Just an example, on the minimum wage, we listen to business, we listen to poverty activists, we listen to people across the board, and we've come up with a systematic approach to setting the minimum wage. The NDP has no position on that. They have refused to take a stand. So I think the danger there is we don't know what they stand for. We don't know what their decisions would be. We know what they did in the past, and that wasn't necessarily good for business, but we don't know where they stand now. So the point I'm making is that there will be some choices for people to make in the near to mid future, and I want you to know where I stand so that you have a clear sight into what you might want to ask me as we go into this period. We've come through a very difficult economic time worldwide. We're still coming through it, and for many that has meant real hardship and real worry, real concern about what the future holds. And that preoccupies me as a premier. It preoccupies me as a premier, it preoccupies me as a mom, as a grandmother, because I want to make sure that on our watch and going forward, we have the very best supports in place for the people of this province. And so that's what drives my actions and dominates my days. I'm 100% committed to creating jobs, working with businesses so that they can expand, and so that we can do that across the whole province. The growing economy is the foundation upon which all else is built in Ontario. And it's the way that families lift themselves up and support each other. And it's the way by which we swell the middle class, which is what we want to do. That's the key to prosperity, and it's the linchpin of progress as a society. A strong economy is also critical if we're going to support our cherished public services like health and education, just to be very specific about what I mean about that whole government presence. Our education and healthcare services that people rely on every single day. In that same Tim Hortons stop, I met a young mom who's got 2 kids, one who's going to start full-day kindergarten next year, and another who will start full-day kindergarten the year after. She's very excited about what that means for her life. She works in a business in that community, and it means that she's got that opportunity for her kids in a full-day program, and she knows from what she's seen of her neighbors and the way the kids in her neighborhood are responding that it's a good thing. I'm not willing to sacrifice those kinds of programs. I'm not willing to sacrifice the future by not giving those little kids the support that they need. So that's what, as I say, that's what drives me, that's what motivates me, and it's why I see the interconnectedness of what you do every day as business leaders, as representatives of your communities. You understand the interconnectedness. You understand that if business thrives, then the community does better, and then the options for people are much wider. There's much more of a range. So we have to work very hard to make sure that that circle of potential and achievement is very, very wide. We have to make sure that it includes as many of our people as possible. We can't leave anybody behind. We can't leave behind the children of the parents that I spoke to recently whose kids are special needs, and that there are people here today whose kids are have special needs. We can't leave any of those kids behind, because that's who we are as a province. We are an inclusive province, and everyone has to have an opportunity. So we can make this province a jobs magnet. We can do that. We can give Ontarians a decent retirement income. We can deliver great health care and education and terrific schools. We can continue to do that, but we're going to have to do it together. I'm going to need your help. This is not something that is done by one politician or one level of government or one Chamber of Commerce. It's done by all of us putting our shoulder to the wheel and making sure that we take the right steps together. So thank you very much for being here today. Thank you for everything that you do every day. Merci, miigwech.
Wow, what a speech. My name is Mark Holmes, and I'm the 2014 President of the Port Hope and District Chamber of Commerce. And I just want to thank you for your remarks today. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to join us today. And here's just a token of our appreciation, and that a book on the gardens of Northumberland Hill.
So I'm looking at this. I just want to show everybody this picture.
Yeah.
Because we've had a winter, haven't we? And look at this picture. I'm just going to go home and stare at it. Thank you very much.
So it was great to be here with Lou Rinaldi, our candidate, and to be able to talk to the Chamber of Commerce and to be able to lay out what I see as the way forward and the jobs plan that really builds on investments in communities and working in partnership with people and with businesses and making sure that people, individuals, have the skills and the training and the support that they need, and that businesses have a climate that allows them to grow. We're very pleased with the job numbers today, but we need that to be a trend. We need that to continue. And so, I use the example of Cisco, 5,000 jobs in Ontario, coming here because of our education system, because of our highly skilled workforce and our strong fundamentals. I also laid out the reality that there are stark differences between the parties in this province right now. We've laid out a plan that supports people, that invests in infrastructure, that invests in communities. The Conservatives want to take us to a place that would slash services, would slash jobs, and would drive us to the bottom. The NDP, we don't know where they stand. We don't know what their plan is. We know what they've done in the past, and we know that wasn't good for business or the economy, but we don't know what their plan is, and they're not commenting on any of their strategies. So it really is important to me that people understand what I believe, and that our path forward is one that is supportive and will work in partnership with communities like Port Hope. So happy to take your questions. Well, so you've just hit on what is the major concern for me. This is a municipal process, as I understand. There has been a proposal that's come to the municipality, and they've gone through that approval process, and now this project sits with the Ministry of the Environment. Our responsibility at the provincial level is to make sure that every environmental and safety concern is addressed, and we will absolutely do that with rigor.
Should there be any tightening of the environmental assessment process, or as this project proceeds, or as developments of this?
Well, yeah, I don't know the details of this particular process. I know that it is sitting. The proposal is sitting now with the Minister of the Environment. But I can tell you that my concern with all of these kinds of projects is that we have the highest environmental standards and that they are met. Okay, thanks.
Premier?
Yes.
In your speech today, I see that it's very much as a stump speech for a political campaign that is coming down the road. And in your prepared remarks, you spent one paragraph on the Conservatives naming Tim Hudak, and you spent several more paragraphs dealing with the NDP position or non-position, as you put it. Is this? Can we take from this that this is your major concern?
I wasn't counting the words that I spent, but if you'd like a few more words on Tim Hudak, I can give them to you. I have many words on Tim Hudak. You know, for me, what's important is that people really understand the differences, and so I was laying out in the clearest way possible what I see the differences to be, and I wasn't really picking favorites among those. You know, I was really trying to give a sense of the fact that, you know, we know where Tim Hudak would take us. First of all, we've been there. We know exactly where he would go. He's very proud of everything that he did when he was in government previously, and wants to come back and slash those programs and then bring in labor legislation that would drive good jobs away. So that's not anywhere where we want to go. And on the NDP, as I said, no idea what they stand for. No idea what they would do. So I spent more time on Tim that time. I'm an equal opportunity critic of what's going on in the opposition. Anybody else? Jamie.
A person convicted of a brutal sexual assault got a life term in prison. When he was released a little while ago after serving 15 years, Toronto police warned everyone. There was several warnings throughout the system saying that high possibility of offending. He was arrested today for more sexual assaults. I know this is a federal issue, but it is a provincial judicial system. What can we do to prevent our youngest people being victimized? This is not the first time this happened, but being victimized by these predator, repeat, habitual offenders. So
first of all, you know, just let me say it's a very disturbing story, and I have just been briefed on it, but I don't have any of the details, and I can't comment on the specifics of this case. But obviously, if there are modifications that need to be made in terms of keeping people safe, then we need to work together with the federal government to make those changes. But again, I can't comment on the specifics of this case.
There's been other cases, some very similar to that, where a person spent life in term, refused any medical treatment or any help to deviate his path of destruction, and yet they're back on the street.
So I think what we need to do is we need to make sure that due process is as rigorous as it needs to be, and obviously when things like this happen, it raises questions about that due process, and I think we need to, as a society, find those answers. I just can't comment on the specifics of any of those cases. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody. He's got another.
This is going to be changing gears completely. We got a lot of Ontario athletes and Canadian athletes putting their best foot forward. And so should you have any words for them?
Just go. Be successful, be safe. My heart is with them. Every one of those young people who is so excited today to compete. And my blessings go to them, and I wish them absolutely all of the very best. And I wish the very best for all of the athletes, and that they stay safe.
One more, can I speak in one more?
Yeah.
And then there's a question here for checks, yeah.
Okay, and another thing, we all know the politics and what the Russian leader said about athletes, same-sex relationships. And as a protest, there's been a lot of rainbow-colored flags being flown at city halls all across Canada, all around the world now. Do you think a rainbow flag should be raised at Queen's Park?
Well, I think that we need to do everything we can to promote our global culture of inclusion and tolerance and acceptance and love. And I believe that this is something that the House leaders will very likely discuss, and that's where the decision has to be made if there were to be a flag raised at Queen's Park, and I'm sure it will come up at the House leaders' meetings.
Last question to Jess.
Several small bus company operators have traveled quite far to see you today. What do you plan to do to address the RFP process?
So I met with a group of the independent bus operators, that's the group that was here today. I met with them, and I have clearly said to them that we are going to make sure that there is an opportunity for them to sit down with the relevant ministers, because it's the Minister of Government Services, it's the Minister of Education who need to be part of this discussion and to figure out what the ongoing review process needs to be. Because as I said in my remarks, or before I made my remarks, when I was Minister of Education, this process began. We have been trying to get the procurement process right. I'm determined to do that, and so I'll be bringing those folks together with the help of their local contact here. Lou will be working with us on that. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks so much for being here today. Merci.